Welcome to episode 6 of the Knits and Burls podcast. My name is Annie and I'm coming to you from Katy, Texas, where I live with my husband and our 3 children. If this is your first time, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. I know that there are a lot of new faces here, so I figured I would reintroduce myself. Like I said, my name is Annie. I've been knitting for about 8 years. Once we had our oldest son, who is now 6, I started staying home with him, and ever since then I haven't put the knitting needles down. That was kind of my jump start to becoming, a knitter with a capital K. I have fallen in love with this craft and it's become a part of my daily life, which is why I wanted to start this knitting podcast. I don't really have a lot of friends that live nearby that knit, and so I thought that this would be a great way to show something that I'm passionate about with all my making and connect with other people all around the world. So I thank you so much for being here. I hope that you find some inspiration in this podcast, and I would love to connect with you in the comments below. So once again, I'm coming to you from a different spot. I feel like every episode I'm somewhere else in my house. If you watched last month's episode, I mentioned that we were creating a cozy coffee shop nook in our master bedroom, and we have since completed that. So we got 2 of these comfy chairs. My husband built a coffee table out of a sycamore cookie that we got from California when we used to live there. And he created the steel legs beneath them. I'm gonna insert some footage here so that you can actually see it. He also created this shelving unit, which is made out of 100-year-old redwood from an old water tower that we also got in California when we lived there. And we set up our record player that my husband inherited from his grandfather when he passed away. So that has been great fun. The kids really enjoy that. They'll come in and have little dance parties in here, which is really fun. So yeah, it's complete, and hopefully the lighting and the sound is good and we can continue recording here for at least a little while. So today I am wearing a shawl that I completed a few years ago. This is the HYLDEBÄR shawl by Lyrica of Fiber Tales. I hope I'm pronouncing all that correctly. I actually had the opportunity to test knit this for her back in 2018, which was a really great experience. I knit mine in Swift yarns in her BLISS sock base in the log cabin colorway. So it's this really gorgeous rusty gold with green undertones. And if you're not familiar with this design, how it's created is you cast on down here and work your way up with all of those bobble stitches. And then at the end, you create the applied border, which has the cables and kind of like the leaf arrow motif in the middle. And then you add tassels at the end if you want. I really enjoyed the tassels, so I don't always add them to my projects, but I feel like it goes really well with this shawl. And it's really quite large. Like it's a good size. I really like this size, and the tassels help weigh down the ends, so I feel like it stays put really well once you have it on. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. It's kind of a chilly day here in Texas. I would say, one of the chillier days that it gets. It doesn't really get super cold here if you're familiar with our climate, but perfect shawl weather. So I was really excited to pull this out and put it on. So today I have one finished object and a few whips, a couple new cast-ons that I'd love to talk about, as well as some acquisitions and future plans. So cozy up and let's get started. So my one finished object I actually don't have because they're on my son's feet. If you watched last month's episode, I talked about I was knitting a pair of socks for my sons. I used the Knit Picks Felici yarn in the Under the Sea colorway, which is this really beautiful green and blue self-striping yarn. And since then I completed them, and they've basically been living on my son's feet. He never takes them off unless they're in the washer. So that's always so wonderful to see and a huge affirmation to keep knitting for them. Even just last night, he mentioned that he would love another pair of hand knit socks soon because he was wearing the Christmas socks that I knit for him 2 years ago. And so the heel is literally on the bottom of his foot because his feet have grown so much. And I told him, buddy, you might need to just pass those on. But he just loves the hand knit socks so much that they're his favorite. So I need to get going and cast him on another pair soon. So that was my one finished object, and I'll put photos here so that you can see them. And let me show you some of my works in progress. I'll start with ones that I already had cast on and then show you my new cast ons at the end. So first is the Cozy Comfort Throw. This is a design by Molly KLATT of A Homespun House. And I'm knitting mine in the Knotty Pine Fiber Company 2021 Advent Calendar. So right now I am adding the last mini skein of hers. This is the 24th day. So I'm just about complete with her Advent, which I'm so excited about. So the blanket starts here at the bottom, that light tan, and then it has 24 stripes. Yay! I'm so excited that I've completed it up to this point. Her Advent calendar was so much fun this year, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully purchasing another one for next year or this year. I am also holding her Advent with a skein of yarn custom dyed for me by Porch Fiber Company. It's this really beautiful brown tan tonal colorway that matched so well with Kayla's Advent. And it's just creating this really cohesive look throughout all the minis. Yeah, I really, really like this. So like I said, I'm on the 24th day, but I'm not going to finish it here. Instead, I'm going to continue the length because I have some more mini skeins that I've collected from Kayla that I would love to add to this blanket and just make it extra big. My plan for this is it will go right here when I have finished it. And now that we have this cozy space completed, I'm really motivated to finish it. So that's been great. I have some progress keepers on here. I hope you can see that. These are by Simply Sarah Knits. She has an Etsy store, which I'll link below. She makes these really beautiful polymer clay stitch markers that are so light that they don't pull on your stitches. They're really great. And I felt like this set matched perfectly with my blanket. So my second whip, I've also shown you before. These are my DRK Everyday Socks, which is a pattern by ANDREA MOWRY. And I am knitting mine in the Freckled Whimsy 2021 Advent skein, which is a 24 stripe self-striping yarn. My friend Laura got me this for my Christmas birthday present, and I cast it on December 1st, and I'm still plugging away at it. I have completed a full repeat of it, which ends right here with what I started with the purple, and now it's repeating itself again. So if you're not familiar with this pattern, it's a toe-up sock. You start with a Turkish cast on, and then you do a 2x2 ribbing. And I believe it's called a Flegel heel, which took me forever. And then I'm just working the length of the leg right now. And then I believe you do some sort of stretchy bind off. I'm not sure. I haven't read that far yet, actually. So I was trying to decide how tall to make these socks because I just really wasn't sure what to reference it from. And the pattern, I think she tells you to knit maybe like 7 to 9 inches up, which I felt like was really high. But I think I'm going to go ahead and follow her recommendation for my first pair of this pattern just to kind of have this as my standard to decide from there what to knit my next pair, because I definitely want to do this pattern again. But what really kind of solidified that decision for me was my favorite two colors in this are the orange and the pink right here. And when I measured the sock to get to her recommended length, it would literally end with the orange and the pink. So that kind of solidified my decision to just go ahead and knit what Andrea recommended. And, you know, you can always trust Andrea. So though I'm plugging away on those, I hope to get those finished soon. My third work in progress is one I already had cast on as well. This is the GINNY cardigan by none other than Andrea MOWRY. It's this really beautiful open front cardigan with a shawl collar and this wonderful stitch pattern throughout. So I'm knitting mine in the Nightshades by HARRISVILLE Designs and the Last Call colorway, which is this really beautiful black yarn that has flecks of blue throughout. It's 80% Cormo and 20% wool. And I love it. I think Cormo is probably my favorite fiber I've ever knit with, at least up to date. It's just a really unique yarn. It's bouncy and it's so, I think because of the preparation of this yarn, it is so light. It is really amazing. So I have finished the whole body and I'm just about done with the first sleeve. So I put this progress keeper here. It tells you to knit the cuff for 6 inches, I believe, so that you can fold it over. And this is my halfway mark. So I think I have maybe 1.5 inches or 2 left, and then I'll be done with the first sleeve. I'm knitting the size 4. And as it is right now, I don't know if it's gonna be really like the wrap-around cardigan that she has it styled as in her project photos. So I'm not sure if I will knit the belt for it. I'll probably decide that later once I block it. And yeah, so I'm really excited to get this off the needles and into my wardrobe. It has been a joy to work with this yarn, and as always, her patterns are so well written and clear. I really enjoy working on them. So I have 2 works in progress left. Both of them are fresh cast-ons. And I'll start with the one I've made the least amount of progress on. So I am making my daughter, she's 1 year old, I'm making her a baby blanket. I knit both of my sons a baby blanket when I was pregnant with them. And then, I don't know, maybe because she was my third, I didn't get a chance to when I was pregnant with her. But I decided she needed a baby blanket from mommy. So I have cast her on a blanket. This is the COLORBLOCK Bias Blanket by PURL SOHO. It's a free pattern on their website. I'm knitting Yarn Bee Pigment Fiber in the Goodness Grapefruit pack. It's a pack of 6 different colorways. It is 60% acrylic, 20% wool, and 20% nylon. So it should be a really durable yarn. It's this really pretty garter stitch that has increases on the side. And I have just started the second color of the pack. So my plan is, I was inspired by Tara of A Loop Through a Loop. She knitted this for someone in her life. I can't remember who, maybe a niece or something like that. So what she did was she got the 2 packs and she knitted 6 colors all the way to the whitest part of the blanket, and then the other pack of the 6 colors down. So yeah, I have, you know, quite a ways to go. I'll show you all the colors that I have. So these are them. We have the gold that we started with, and then the light blue, and then it'll go into a dark blue, and a darker pink, medium pink, and this really pretty cream. And then it'll repeat itself again. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this project. What I did, because Tara, on her way back doing the decreases, she actually did run out of yarn right at the last corner. And so I was a little bit nervous with that. So what I did was I weighed out the yarn from both packs, and then I divided them by what had the least, you know, what weighed the least. And then I'm using that first, because then, yeah, hopefully I'll have enough on the other side. So most of them weighed like 24 to 27 grams. So say I got 24 grams in the gold and 27 grams of the gold. I'm using the 24 grams first, and then I'll save the 27 grams for the other half of the blanket. So yeah, that's what I've been doing with this. So I believe that the pattern is originally knitted on larger needles with a thicker yarn. I'm using US 4, and these are my Luca needles. They're a really beautiful driftwood interchangeable set I got quite a few years ago. I was knitting with my Chalgu, which is my typical needle of choice, but I think because I'm used to knitting with a little bit toothier yarn, this yarn was really difficult for me to get acclimated to. It just kept slipping, and I felt like I couldn't get a good grip with my hands. So I was really just, I think, tense. And once I switched to the wooden needles, that helped a lot. But I had to put this project down for a little bit, because since I was so tense with the yarn, it was really starting to make my hand hurt. So yeah, I took a few days off, and I picked it up last night and just did a couple rows, and it didn't hurt my hand as much. So I'm excited to get back to this. But I do think that it'll be a long-term project, just because although these are smaller, you know, it's basically like a day with the Knotty Pine advent calendar. It's just slightly less enjoyable to work with than that, because I'm assuming just because of the acrylic that is making it harder on my hands. So I'm just taking it a slow pace, and I have all these pretty skeins wound up to kind of motivate me to keep going with it. So one thing I wanted to say, my friend Laura worked this up faster than I did, and I'm gonna have her podcast and Etsy store linked below, because she does have a podcast that's really great. She is a wealth of knowledge and has always has great advice, because I feel like I can ask her anything and she usually has a great answer for it, especially with knitting. But she worked faster than me because we're knitting this blanket together. And our plan was to just magic knot the yarn and keep going, because that's what I did with my Cozy Comfort throw. I just magic knotted everything, and it's worked great. But because I think the content of this yarn, she magic knotted hers and worked a couple rows, and it just fell apart. So I don't know if you can really do that with this yarn. And once again, maybe it's the acrylic. I just don't really have a lot of experience with this fiber content. So maybe it's just too slippery. But that's a good thing to note, because you don't want your blanket falling apart in the end, especially when a little toddler's carrying it around. They're not going to be particularly gentle with this. So I'm just going to weave in the ends at the end. And I liked the crisper look of starting a new row on the right side versus the wrong side. It has, you know, just that overlap right there. Originally, I joined it on the wrong side, and then it really bothered me, especially because it was my first color transition, so I tinked back and fixed it. But that might just be one of those, you know, when you get overly particular about certain things and in the end they really don't matter. That could be one of those. In this project, I've been holding in my basket that I got from Back Porch Fiber Company. I know that she is going to have a pretty large restock of baskets similar to this soon, so definitely check out her Etsy store if you're in the market for this. She also sells yarn and really beautiful progress keepers, so if that's something that you're looking for, I would highly recommend her shop. So my final work in progress, I spoke about wanting to cast this on soon in my last episodes, and I did. This is the Reluctant Homeschooler by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. So it's a really beautiful cardigan that's knit bottom up, and you knit the sleeves first and the pockets first, and then kind of join it all in and get your cardigan. I don't think I've ever knit a bottom up cardigan, so this is a new learning experience for me. So once again for this project, I found inspiration from Tara of A Loop Through a Loop. She knit the same cardigan in the same yarn. She used PATONS Classic Wool Worsted, and this is the Natural Mix colorway number 229. So this is 100% wool yarn. It is very affordable. I got 6 skeins to make this size, and after shipping it was less than $40. So much different price point than something like my GINNY cardigan. That yarn is definitely more of an investment. And I have young children, like I was saying, and I feel like I have to be kind of precious with my knits, especially at this stage of life. But then it's kind of frustrating not being able to implement them into my daily life. So this cardigan is a little bit of an experiment for me. I am curious if I find myself reaching for this cardigan more because I am less invested money-wise into it, and therefore I'm not as precious with it. So that is kind of my thought behind this project, and I'm using it kind of as an experiment. So I think I said it's 100% wool. This yarn has been really great to knit with. I have really, really enjoyed it. It, you know, it's a little bit toothier than the last yarn I just showed you, so it has a little bit more of a grip. It's closer to what I'm used to working with. It is a really wonderful color. I like, it's just going to be a great neutral that I can hopefully fit with in my wardrobe. So the pattern is originally designed in a bulky weight, I believe. And so to accommodate for that, I went down my needle sizes. I'm knitting mine with US 6 and US 8. The 6s are used for the ribbing and then 8s for the rest of the cardigan. I am knitting the size 8, which should get me about 44 inches, a finished circumference of 44 inches. And what's really great is you can knit the pockets first and use that as your gauge swatch. So that's what I did. I'll show you the pockets. So here they are. They're really large pockets, which I'm excited for. I've been, you know, I kind of put my phone next to it and it'll fit the entire phone, which is really great. So I did more increases on the pockets as recommended from Tara of A Loop Through a Loop. She increased up to 28 stitches, and that I think was just to accommodate for the difference in the gauge. So to make them a little bit wider, which I'm really excited for. It was nice to just have a swatch that was also functional. As you can see, I didn't bother blocking it because I'm kind of just trying to go really quick with this project because I want to be less precious with it, like I said. And I think if it's a little bit bigger than the 44 inches, I'll be fine with that. I'm totally good with that. So like I said, you knit the sleeves first and then the body bottom up. So I have one sleeve completed. I did do the increases differently as well than what the pattern said. I knit my cuffs a little bit longer. I don't know if I really was intentionally doing that. And then I just kind of checked it and it was already at 2 inches. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I like the look of this a lot. And I wrote down how I did the increases. So let me look at that for you. Okay, so I increased 2 stitches every inch for 11 inches and then knitted for 4 inches straight, which is where this little guy is at. These are also from Simply Sarah Knits. Aren't those so pretty? Yeah, and I put this on a bigger needle earlier and put it up my arm and it fit really well. This will be, I think, roomier than my GINNY cardigan, so I'm kind of excited to see which one I like more, and then for future projects I can go off of that. So I do have the second sleeve cast on. I started working on it last night, which I have quite a ways to go. And then I also cast on the body because I think I just didn't want to worry about having to keep track of increases while I was around the kids. And then I accidentally knit the whole body. So really I'm ready to join the sleeves, but I have to finish that first sleeve. The only modification I made to this one was I knit the hem to 2 inches to match the sleeves. And I knitted the body 2 inches longer than what the pattern stated. And I think I'll be fine yardage wise. I probably could have knitted even longer, but I thought 2 inches was good enough. And hopefully I like the length. I think it'll hit me kind of below where my shirt sits, but not so low that I'm sitting on it all the time, which I think would just cause wear and tear, but I'm not sure. So yeah, this project is going really quickly. I'm really hoping I could get both cardigans done by the end of January or February. And then I could add them to my wardrobe, and I'm just so curious to see if I wear this one more, which I really do think I'm going to, because my biggest mind block, I would say, with my knitting right now is I don't want the kids to ruin it, which is sad because I need to just, you know, get over that and wear it because I knit it to wear it. But then in the back of my head, I think about how much money I spent on it and time. So I hope that this cardigan is a good transition to that. You know, I don't have at least the money block in my head. And that's why I've been kind of not taking as much time as I think I normally would. Like, even, for example, I just did a long tail cast on for the hem, and maybe in a more expensive yarn I would have taken extra time to figure out if there was a better cast on for that. But I was really anxious just to get this done and have me wear it. So that's how that project's going. I'm really motivated on this one, and I've enjoyed the yarn so much that it's been really great to work on. So those are all the works in progress that I have to share about. I did get a little bit of acquisitions this month that I wanted to share with you. I will share first about some yarn I got to make a half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho. So this is Purl Soho's linen quill in their heirloom white colorway. I got this quite a few months ago. I think I shared about it on one of my first podcasts, and it's just been sitting in my stash waiting for its companion. So this is the pale mushroom colorway. Purl Soho was out of stock of this for quite some time, And once it came back in stock, I grabbed 3 skeins to make that wrap. So I'm planning on casting this on in March. I am actually going to California to visit my friend Laura, who I talk about so much, and we are going to cast on that shawl together. She also got the same yarn but different colorways, so check out her podcast if you want to see what color combos she's going to be knitting hers in. I am really excited to try out this yarn, and I think that pattern is going to be wonderful to have on the go, especially with kids. I think it's just going to be mindless but can keep my hands busy, and I can't wait to cast that on. So the other yarny acquisition I made this month, I got the Barrett Wool Company kit to make their little snowman. If you have never purchased a kit by Barrett Wool Company, I have purchased a couple. They make these really cool patterns, just really fun, like home decor stuff. They do a lot of seasonal focused projects. And if you purchase a kit, it comes with everything to make that. So within their kit, they have just enough yarn to make their little snowman. See, it's not full skeins, it's just enough to make some. And it comes with the pattern, and in the snowman kit, it came with all of the different accessories that you need to make him. So looks like they have some little safety buttons. Maybe that's for like the buttons on the front of the snowman and maybe his eyes. And then it came with some orange to make the carrot nose. So I was really excited to be able to get one of those. They do sell out fast, and like I know right now the snowman kit is out of stock, but if you go to a kit that you're interested in, they have a notification spot. You can enter your email address and then they'll notify you whenever it's back in stock. And I've done that a couple of times. And then, you know, you get the email and then you can go on and purchase it. And, you know, they're affordable little kits because you don't get full skeins of yarn. You get just enough for the project. So they're not really that expensive, depending on what you get. I know that they have ones for sweaters and bigger projects, but this one was not very expensive. So the final acquisition I got actually isn't yarn, but it's a big acquisition. So for many years now, I've been wanting a needle case that could hold, I have 2 separate sets of interchangeable needles. I have the CHYLDEBÆR sets and the Luca sets. And I always wanted a needle case that you can store both of those in. So for my birthday and Christmas present, I asked people to consider getting me Magpie Fiber Company gift cards, and I got quite a few, more than I was expecting, and so I was able to purchase the Maxwell utility roll. This is a beautiful case designed and made by Atomic Freedom. That might be backwards, so I apologize. It's a beautiful waxed canvas and leather case, and I actually recorded a video going more in depth into this, so if you're interested in getting a closer look at it, I would recommend that video, and I'll have it linked for you. It's this beautiful needle case that has multiple pockets all throughout and a zipper pocket, and then it has all the slots you could ever need for all your needles. And then I got these leather needle tabs. These are actually they're from Thread and Maple, which is a company that also makes needle binders. They just released a design not too long ago of like a similar idea of this, but it's in a binder form instead. but I really couldn't justify a purchase like this without using those gift cards. Just with our personal budget, and I mean, this is an investment piece. It's not inexpensive. But I can absolutely understand the price point from it because it is so well made, and the price of the materials and the labor, I think, is an accurate representation of the price. So if you want a closer look at this, I recommend that video. Yeah, I give you just a more in-depth view of it. If this is something you're in the market for, and are interested in learning more. It's, yeah, I really enjoy it. And I will give a review in a few months once I've used it for a longer amount of time. Someone asked me for that, which I thought was a great idea. So I will be sure to follow up with it. So those are all my acquisitions this month. And I wanted to talk a minute just about acquisitions in general. I have decided to challenge myself to not purchase any yarn in 2021 with 3 caveats, which I know y'all are probably like, oh, you're already making exceptions, but I'm trying to think of this realistically. I'm trying to think of this, you know, a full year span and what that will actually look like. So I would like to purchase the Knotty Pine Fiber Company Advent Calendar again this year. That's the first purchase I would love to make. I absolutely loved Kayla's Advent Calendar. It was beautiful. She did such a great job at designing the colors and having it, you know, her color scheme laid throughout. You could tell she took a lot of time in deciding what order to put them in. It was just such a wonderful experience, and I would love to support her again. And the second purchase I would love to make is the coordinating solid colors from Back Porch Fiber Company to go with that Advent Calendar again, because I felt like Laura's yarn just paired so well with the Advent Calendar that it just looked like they went together. They were made for each other. So I'd love to make those 2 purchases this year. And then my third is I am going to knit my sons some sweaters. I tried and failed to knit them the mini unbearable hoodies last year. And what I mean by I failed by was that they turned out too small. I only completed the body of the first one, and then I tried it on them and it was skin tight, so I decided not to continue with it. But I want to try again this year. So my third possible acquisition is to get more yarn to finish that, because I don't know if I'm gonna have enough with having to go up a size. So that's my plan. I'm gonna challenge myself. I feel I don't know if overwhelmed is quite the word by it, but I feel very full with my stash right now. I have a lot and I don't really need any more, especially, you know, I'm not the fastest knitter in the world. It takes me a while to finish things. And if I'm accumulating more and more stash before I finish things, and I feel capped out by my stash, then I need to just take a break. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna challenge myself with this year. I did make one purchase before I made this decision, and that was the Gather the Good Club by Old Wire Road Fiber Company. She is doing a year-long club this year. It's called Gather the Good, so every month has a different focus. And I purchased the January club. So I'll show you that in next month's episode because I have not yet received it. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think I'll make socks with it, but we'll see once I get it. I have no idea what it looks like. But I did get the sock set option. So yeah, that's my plan with stash this year. I did bring one more skein of yarn over. This I've had in my stash for probably probably about a year, or maybe a little bit less than that. I got it fall of last year. This is Woolly Mammoth Fiber Company, which is absolutely stunning. I love this yarn. This is her natural sock base, which is 50% BFL and 50% Cheviot wool. You can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. And this is her Autumn Equinox 2021 Forest Floor colorway. So last year, my mother-in-law and I purchased the autumn box. I can't remember what she called it, but it came with a skein of yarn and some pottery, and I remember some really good smelling soap and maybe tea. So I've had this in my stash for a while, just kind of hanging out, because although it is a natural sock base, I feel like it's too precious for socks. And, you know, at least in my head. And so I've just been kind of hanging on to it, trying to decide what to make with it. And I think I have decided. Victoria from the Victorious Wool podcast, she also has an Instagram and website that I'll link below. She designed these absolutely beautiful fingerless mitts with a cable design that is supposed to come out next month, or yeah, next month. And so I think that this is going to be used for those fingerless mitts, and that might have to be cast on soon because I've been holding on to this for quite some time, and it would be really nice to knit a little accessory for myself. I feel like I've been consumed with a lot of larger projects that I'm really excited to get bound off and into my wardrobe, and if I can do that, it would be lovely to treat myself to a little accessory. And just in the realm of plans and what I've been thinking about, what I'll cast on next, I'm really in the mood to knit for my kids. I don't know if it's because of their interest in my knitting. That's probably a really big part of it. And because it's cold right now, I am just really craving to knit for them. So I think once I can get some of these projects off the needles, I would love to maybe knit them another pair of socks. Or just this morning, my oldest son asked me, can you teach me to knit so I can knit myself a pair of gloves and a hat and a scarf, which was really sweet. But I told him, yes, of course. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, I could just knit you those. And yeah, so I needed to talk with him more and see what he kind of had in his head, and maybe knit those for them soon. So those are just kind of plans and thoughts. I wanted to mention about the decision not to purchase any yarn this year, you know, just because I think accountability is important with something like that. And I'm definitely going to be 100% honest with you guys. If I just have to purchase something, you know, then I will absolutely be transparent with you. But those are my goals, and you know, I do think it's realistic, especially with making the exception to the advent calendar. That was just so much fun this year to have. And then it'll be great that I can support a few of my favorite dyers while also just enjoying the stash that I already have and working its way down. So yeah, those are my plans. I would love to know in the comments below if you have any plans for 2022 knitting. Are you going to try to work your stash down or create anything specific? I would absolutely love to hear that. I've had quite a few people ask me to show my languishing whips, so I will try to muster up the courage and find the time to do that soon. Y'all have to be nice to me because it's a little scary. So I will bare my soul as it is and show you everything I have cast on and not cast off. So I'll be sure to do that soon. And then I just hope to start chipping away at all those projects because it's quite a bit. I just wanted to thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I would love to continue this conversation in the comments below. If you have anything specific that you would like me to show within my making life, I would love to hear it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon.